I feel like I've been a bit critical of wargaming lately, at least for myself. From the recent decisions they've made to the plethora of incoming high-tier ships, the carrier rework, up to the research bureau. I've hit on the ships that I think aren't good for the game, like the Colbert. For most of these items, us community contributors have been lockstep in our opinions. In fairness, the research bureau isn't a big deal. Either players will do it, or they won't. It'll be there, but it won't take anything away from the game. Sure, there'll be some grumblings about the ships locked behind the research bureau, but for the most part, it's not a big deal. And the CV rework is still in progress. I know we don't necessarily like that. We all would have preferred a finished product at the get-go that didn't diminish from the game, but it was a tough task. These were the cards we were dealt. While I am frustrated that new ships seem to all be powerful Tier 9 and Tier 10 ships, should we not be happy that we're getting new ships and new lines? For me, it's a little harder to be critical of wargaming. Actually, let me take that back. I can be hard on wargaming, but I have empathy because I've met many of the individuals behind the scenes. I know they just want to make the game the best that they can. Many of them have no say in the monetary aspects, the things that most players hate about wargaming. A lot of them just do as they're told, and they do the best that they can at that. Despite this though, we have to be critical, both CCs and players alike. It's the only way to make the game better. So while at times contributors, testers, or players might sound harsh, it's because they want the best for the game. I'm pretty sure the developers and the employees understand this. They know we get frustrated. I'm sure they get frustrated themselves. They're under the spotlight when things go wrong. And sometimes that seems to happen more often than not, especially as of late. The thing that I'll never understand though, is the contingent of players that appear to be outright rooting for the game's failure. I've never understood this. I've seen streamers, non-CCs of course, that play the game regularly, continually crap on the game as if it's some substandard indie offering. If you hate it, why play it, let alone stream it? Of course we all know the answer to that. It rhymes with holler. But this goes for players as well. How many times have you seen a player rage in chat that everything about the game sucks? Dude, seriously, take it somewhere else. Most of us are trying to have fun and escape from our miserable work lives. We want to find respite for an hour if we're lucky, and don't need you pointing out the faults of the game. We know what they are. We deal with it. You see it on the forums as well. This game is dead. This game will be dead in a year. Players are quitting. I hope this game dies. Then why the bloody hell are you on the forums crying? If you think the game is dead, kill your player profile and leave. We won't miss you. Honestly, I think these players fall into a few categories. Frustrated players that just don't know how to complain constructively and therefore hope for failure. Players that don't play and truly want the game to fail. That's a waste of time if you ask me. And lastly, players that are just straight up trolls. They're angry at pretty much everything. That's really all I can think of when it comes to the players that are rooting for the game's failure. But you know what? In spite of all this, the game is dead, players are leaving, or it'll be done in a year, 5 years later, this game is still going fine. Really, the only other place I see this strange attitude is in pro sports. I'm a Redskins fan. That sucks in its own right. There have been years when me and my friends just straight up say after the first loss, I hope we lose every game. It's not because we hate the team. We love the team. But I guess we think deep down that if the team plays poorly enough, somehow they'll change and learn a lesson, and management will make better decisions. Plus they get that #1 pick in the draft. There's a reward for failure, albeit a small one. But when we root for this failure, it's not in a spiteful way, and we still cheer the victories. Something that is largely absent from World of Warships. And there have been victories as of late. Wargaming has done some very good things, though the good will always be cast in the shadow of the bad. Anyhow, to sum up, I guess what I want to close with is that being critical is fine. Providing constructive criticism is fine, and it's important. Making yourself heard as a player is vital to the game. But rooting for failure? I just don't get that. Find one of the thousands of AAA games out there that's 1 year and done and move on from our community. Because we don't need you. Zoop out.